We're glad to have you join us. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television, and we're reaching you live from our global headquarters here in Lagos. I am Bukola Koka. Our top stories. Abia State Governor Dr. Otti visits President Bola Tinubu on Christmas Day, commends him on his intervention in the Enugu-Umuahia-Aba-Port Harcourt Expressway Road project. Taraba State Governor warns against criticism against his trip outside the state, saying they're to woo investors. An Edo APC federal lawmaker accuses the People's Democratic Party of plunging the state deeper in debt. Well, thank you for staying tuned. And as we start off, let's begin by serving you with the lunchtime political stories today, with the report precisely of the Abia State Governor, Dr. Otti, who visited President Bola Tinubu at his private residence in Kogi, Lagos State. The visit, according to the governor, is in the spirit of the Christmas celebration. He says he also used the opportunity to commend the president for his intervention in the long-abandoned Aba end of the Enugu-Umuahia-Aba-Port Harcourt Expressway. This intervention, according to him, has led to the resumption of work on the reconstruction of the federal highway.
Immediately after election, political parties take the back seat and governance takes the front seat. So all we are doing is for the interest of Nigerians, and as a federating unit, that is Abia State government, we are doing everything we can to support the government, and the government is also supporting us, particularly some of the roads, and we discussed them, some of the federal roads, even though the president feels that there is no federal road because the roads are used by the individuals in those states. And so I had discussed with him and before now, and he had authorized that the Port Harcourt Enugu Expressway, which had not been used for several years, he had authorized work to start there about 3 months ago, and hopefully I believe that this Christmas, with the extent of work that have been done on that road, that it will be open to road users, even if it's not completed. Before now, people used to do 2-3 hours from Port Harcourt through Eche, then you bust out to Imo, and then you come back to Abia. But a journey from Port Harcourt to Aba is only 30 minutes on smooth road.
And over now to northeast Nigeria, where the Taraba State Governor, Mr. Kefas, has been explaining the reason for his many trips outside the state. Governor Kefas says the visits are in search of investors to help harness the rich natural and human endowment present in Taraba, and not for personal business. He advises his critics and those challenging his trips to put the interests of the state above personal ones. He was speaking at a Christmas service held at the Christian Reformed Church for Nations in Wukari local government area of the state.
I am aware that people are saying that I don't stay in the state, I don't stay in one place. Probably they did Kuchia or something for me. Nobody did anything to me. This head can never be confused by anything. This state is very rich. We are rich in human resources, different kinds of people, different religions coming together. If we work together, you can imagine what we can bring to this country. But if you sit down here in the state, you are a governor, you sit down, and the sitting governor, nothing will come and meet you there. You have to walk. So I'm a working governor, not a sitting governor. Some people say I'm not accessible. Even before now that I wasn't a governor, it's not everybody that sees me. I'm not the kind of person that likes sitting there one place. People will come and be telling you all sorts of stories. My brain is working, and I don't want anybody to contaminate.
A member representing the Eza North Ishielu Federal Constituency in Ebonyi State at the National Assembly, Honorable Joseph Nwobasi, has commended the verdict of the Court of Appeal, which affirmed him as the lawmaker representing his constituency at the Green Chamber. Honorable Nwobasi described the verdict as a win for democracy and validation of the people's will. The lawmaker, a member of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, promised to focus on delivering on his campaign promises, having put the legal tussles behind him. He was speaking at a reception held in his honor. Well, we'll have that story subsequently. For more insights into the performance of the Tinubu-led administrations, particularly since inauguration, I have joining me on Lunchtime Politics the Executive Director of Youth Hub Africa, Mr. Rotimi Olawale. Mr. Olawale, you're welcome to Lunchtime Politics.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon.
Yes, and indeed it's a pleasure to have you on Channels Television. Let's start coming off on the outcome of the Nobel laureate's visit to Mr. President yesterday. Is it too early to assess the performance of the Tinubu-led government?
I think it might be too early to assess the overall performance of the government, but we always say that the Saturday that will be sweet, you start to know it from Friday afternoon. And so we are beginning to see the building blocks of the administration from now, and it's not too early to begin to advise government and also ensure that they do the right thing at the right time.
Speaking of which, you know, coming off on the strength of your first statement, headline inflation was 22.1% in May when the administration took over, and we all know what the figure is at the moment. Does this speak of the administration's clarity on the issues, the challenges bedeviling the country, or the lack of it? And from that, what's the potential of the administration to transform the fortunes of the country?
I think in terms of inflation and other fiscal and monetary issues, it might be too early to see what will change. There will be some time. We need to give the government some time to ensure that some of the policies and practices they are putting in place begin to yield the deliberate result. But as you know, Nigerians are also a little bit impatient, and we also need the political elite to not only ask us to be patient, but to also lead the work in ensuring that the policies they are putting in place will deliver the democratic dividends that Nigerians want to see and want to see quickly.
So how much time would you really think the administration needs if we consider that the disillusionment that Nigerians feel is not necessarily something new? Of course, we can trace it back to you know, the last 8 years of the APC-led administration, for which much of their dreams have still not been actualized.
I think that institutional reforms will take time. What Nigerians are saying that they want to see some palliative measures that provide immediate succor to the challenges that they are facing. As you know, these days, transport, food costs are on the high side, and a lot of people are complaining in different parts of the country. Poverty is on the rise, as you have also mentioned, the issue of inflation, which means that people, if you earn 100,000 naira as take home, 6 months ago, the value of that continues to reduce over time because of inflationary pressures. And so Nigerians want to see where are the succor coming from? What are the policies the government will institute into the system to ensure that the private sector can generate more employment? How can we stabilize electricity in Nigeria as is a major factor for the means of production for different manufacturing activities? And how can we ensure that government aggregates policy and continue to develop and deliver a program of government as a whole in a way that all government ministries, departments, and agencies work together in ensuring that they can push Nigeria's economy forward in different aspects. We want to see growth in agriculture. We are seeing some initiatives that have been launched in the ICT sector. We need to see many more of these in other sectors in order to ensure Nigerians have jobs, but they also have value for their money.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a consensus on the need for all these things to become visible such that Nigerians can be better served. But how much time do you think Nigerians should give this administration? How much time will this administration need to become mature enough for it to be objectively assessed based on its potential for transformation of the country's fortunes?
I think for me, the first 1 year is very critical. As you know, government is just settling down. Many ministers were recently sworn in, and the first budget for the government would kick off in January of 2024. And that's when you begin to see if the government really means business. So the first 1 year is very critical. That is where government puts in place its building blocks. Anything after that, I think Nigerians have given enough time to government to begin to see the kinds of programs and projects that government will put in place to push the economy in the right direction.
We'll talk about that budget subsequently, well, shortly if there's time. But let's, take security, for instance. There's been quite a number of happenings in that sector. But go back to Mr. President's promise to provide a trained and disciplined anti-terrorist battalion, upgrade tactical communication and transportation for security agents, upgrade weapons system to ensure security agents are capable of addressing the threats. Just to mention a few of the promise of Mr. President before he took power. What are the things that, the gaps that have not been covered in these promises that Mr. President made before he took power that, are responsible for where we still are in terms of security today?
I think that the Nigerian security architecture needs a complete overhaul and rebuilding. It's not just about upgrading what is currently there. We need to rethink how we want to do policing in the 21st century and in 2023. We need to look at what are the architecture that government needs to put in place to ensure adequate policing. Policing has changed. We have increasing issues around kidnapping in Nigeria. We have bandits rampaging in different sectors and different states. We have issues around cybercrime. How do we retool our security? How do we recruit? How do we train? I think training is very important, but also how do we ensure that we beef up the intelligence sector within the Nigerian security architecture in order that they can provide crucial information in a way that works well. What we have seen in Nigeria, sometimes we see abysmal arrests. People are arrested, questioned, displayed on TV without appropriate investigation. We need to see the use of more intelligence. We need to see the deploying of more technology in our security architecture. And we need to see more harmony within the security agencies working together to ensure adequate policing and providing the needed security across the length and breadth of Nigeria.
And this is the point where we get to the budget. And you have talked about that budget being the document with the potential, to transform the fortunes of the country after the first year that the administration has settled in. So what is the promise that this budget holds, particularly in these area of security that we're talking about, that will, help the country to kick off on a sound footing? They say that when security has been taken care of, then the country is on the right path, to begin to thrive economically. So what do you see in the security component of this budget that will set the country on the right path?
I think that there are many elements of the budget that we need to look at, but what I always say to people is that passing the budget is one big chunk of it, but the most important aspect of budget is in its implementation. Over the years, we have seen implementation over around 50–60%. We need to ensure that we push implementation forward, and it's in the ruthless implementation of the budget and also the policies and programs targeted at the security sector reforms that we want to see more progress. Beyond the security sector reform as well, we need to also ensure that there's justice in Nigeria. many societies and communities and individuals have felt that there's an absence of justice. We need to ensure that the justice sector reforms move hand in hand with the security sector reforms so that people can have a sense of justice in Nigeria. We also need to look at prison reforms because all of these are together and are linked together. We need to ensure that the long trial that people wait, the long delay to justice is too much in Nigeria. We need to ensure that all of this is worked hand in hand to ensure that we can deliver a holistic reform for Nigeria and for Nigerians to make Nigeria a better place.
Yes, indeed, and we could also talk about the scrutiny that is going into this budget and the need to empower those who would manage the finances in the first place, to take control and to be able to plan their own expenditure, and of course the local government. But we must leave it there for now. We want to thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi Olawale, Executive Director, Youth Hub Africa. Thank you for your contributions on the program today.
Thank you very much, and it's my pleasure for being here.
And still to come on Lunchtime Politics, the member representing Ovia Federal Constituency in Edo House of Representatives, Mr. Idahosa, says the PDP has raised Edo debt profile to about 500 billion naira. That's after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The member representing Ovia Federal Constituency in Edo in the House of Representatives, Mr. Dennis Idahosa, has claimed that the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, has raised Edo State's debt profile to about 500 billion naira. Mr. Idahosa, who is also an aspirant under the platform of the All Progressives Congress in next year's governorship election in Edo State, insists that the PDP has not delivered on its promises to the people. The federal lawmaker highlighted the Gelegele Seaport and the Industrial Park as some of the proposed projects that have not been delivered by the present administration. He made the comments at the APC Secretariat in Benin City, the state capital, where he addressed party leaders on his intention to fly the party's flag at the governorship polls.
What the then governor promised my people was to bring Gelegele Seaport to Ovia Federal Constituency. And the last time I went, there is no even canoe sailing there, not to talk about ship. And they also promised that they were going to bring industrial park to Kobaoka. The last time I went there, I saw rabbits trading in that place. And they also promised the youth that they were going to give us, I think, 200,000 jobs. If our kids, our youth, like me, have 200,000 jobs in Edo, I don't think the unemployment rate will be in this kind of category that we is in Edo State. And they also promised that they are economists, that they will fix the economy of Edo. As we speak, most of you might not know the debt ratio of Edo State. As of today, Edo State is the third most indebted state in the Federation. Now, we have domestic debt of 136 billion naira and external debt of $258 million. If you add both together in our currency, it's almost $500 billion naira. I believe I'm well equipped, experienced, exposed, and I have all the capacity to bring this mandate back to APC.
And still in the South, the federal government has begun the payment of 20,000 naira to vulnerable groups across the 18 local government areas of Cross River as part of its effort to reduce poverty in the country. Speaking at the venue for the flag-off of the event, the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Betta Edu, explained that the essence of the disbursement is to ensure that at least about 50 million Nigerians are taken out of poverty in the year 2030. The beneficiaries are, however, tasked on a judicious use of the funds. The state governor, Pastor Basi Otu, commends the initiative of the President Bola Tinubu administration, which is optimistic would alleviate poverty among the vulnerable.
It's been Christmas from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Nigerians all across the country. Remember, he cut down transportation by half and he has done the grant for vulnerable groups in over 8 states that are celebrating Christmas this period. And here in Cross River, we are flagging off the grants for vulnerable groups in Cross River State from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. And we've been able to reach 4,000 very poor and vulnerable in Cross River State today. This has gone down to the grassroots. We have confirmed checks to know that these people are actually poor and they deserve to benefit from it, meeting all the checklists and criteria that are required for them to be paid. Beyond this, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty in 2024 through the various social protection programs that he's bringing on board beginning from January. And Cross Riverians will be full beneficiaries. Once again, we want to tell Nigerians Merry Christmas, and they must keep faith with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he's poised, committed to ensuring that he eradicates poverty from our country.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, have done so much to this group, to this sector of people than any other government has ever done. And I say this because our mandate is people first mandate. Yes. And the people we're looking at were all those in this pocket of vulnerabilities. So at some point it now sync with renewed hope. Yes. Which aligns properly with what he's saying. He wants to take 50 million people out of poverty. No government has ever done it, but I know that he's going to achieve it.
In the North Central, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State says he will continue to deliver on the dividends of democracy to the people of the state till the last day of his administration. He stated this when he presented new vehicles to judges, legislators and the health sector, as well as firefighting equipment to the State Ministry of Works in Lokoja, the state capital.
Governor Yahaya Bello, in company of the Kogi State Governor-elect, Mr. Usman Ododo, arrived at Muhammadu Buhari Square in Lokoja for the commissioning of the sports utility vehicles purchased by his government for distribution. Firefighting vans and ambulances are also to be distributed to the 21 local government areas in the state. The secretary to the state government sets the ball rolling.
To maintain these vehicles, let them be properly maintained. Let us not use them as if, yes, it's government properties.
The beneficiaries, comprising judges, the state legislature and ministries, commend Governor Bello for the foresight.
Your Excellency, recently you approved the recruitment of healthcare workers across all health institutions, including the reference hospital, and most of those people are at their point of services. You did not stop there, Your Excellency. You approved, as one of the first states to do that, hazard allowance for healthcare professionals.
Your focus on creating an environment that enables legislators to perform their duties effectively has not only boosted morale, but also contributed to enhance productivity and more vibrant legislative body.
So we are grateful to Your Excellency for your untiring effort and concern for the state judiciary. Let me put it on record here that I have no record that His Excellency has ever attempted to influence the decision of our court in the state.
For the governor, more dividends will come the way of the people in the few months left for him to spend in office.
We are commissioning vehicles in fulfillment of all of our promise, and even to do more for the good people of Kogi State.
For our dear people, so help me God.
Governor Bello is optimistic that the new firefighting vehicles will increase response time to fire incidences and the efficiency of the state fire service.
And still on development matters, while the federal government may be busy with the fulfillment of the promise of subsidizing transport fare for commuters who are traveling by road, a local government has decided to join the effort to provide ease of travel for its own residents. The sole administrator of Safe local government area of Zamfara State, Dr. Abdullahi Adamu, has officially launched a mass transportation scheme tagged Safe Transit Thrive Initiative to ease movement for people in the council. The transportation scheme subsidizes by 50% the transport fare of residents to any part of the state. Wife of the Zamfara State Governor, Hajia Huriya Lawal, while launching the scheme, underscored the importance that transportation plays in the socio-economic development of any community.
Once these vehicles are launched, are meant for everybody in Safe local government, the civil servant and all the public. And they're accessing this vehicle, they will be routine. This is their station, their park. You can see the standard, the way we built it, because we are thinking of quality and also sustainability. So this project will help us to take them to Gusau at just 3,315 naira. So that means they'll pay only 50,000 naira of the actual cost. And this is to augment the federal government and the state government palliative interventions in Nigeria. So that's the essence of this project.
One of the key highlights of this initiative is to provide a 50% rebate on fares for the populace. This groundbreaking discount is a testament to the commitment of our government to prioritize the welfare of our citizens. It is a clear demonstration of our dedication to ease the financial burden on our people while ensuring their access to safe and reliable transportation. As we launch these buses here today, we embark on a new journey that goes beyond physical transportation. We embark on a journey towards enhancing connectivity, improved livelihoods, and a more sustainable future.
And with that, you have been served Lunchtime Politics for today. Thank you for watching. Join us again, same time tomorrow when we bring you another edition. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.